What's up, everybody? It's Tyler from Dirt Road Country here. I'm joined by a Georgia native, which is always great because go dogs. Ryan Fuller joins me. Ryan, what's going on?
What's going on, buddy? Thank you for having me,
Not
dude.
much. Thanks for joining me. How's everything going with you? You have a lot of stuff going on. You have an album coming out.
I do, man. Yeah, it's going good. Everything's going pretty good. Hunting seasons right now, so I'm in high spirits and good moods, and got an album coming out in October 24th. And yeah, dude, things are good. Things are cruising.
Well, a lot of Southerners say that fall is the best time of year. I mean, you got the great weather, you got college football, and now new music and hunting season. Small
Yeah,
Town Record is out October 24th. There's two songs I wanted to get into that are on the record. First one was a Jameson Rogers. It came out back in June. It's called Southern Summer Sundown. Can you talk
yeah,
about that one?
yeah, man. So that song, me and James, that right was mine and Jameson's first right together ever. We had met each other a couple times before, and I'd always wanted to write. I was a huge Jameson Rogers fan, still am. I mean, he's incredible. But yeah, that was our first write together, and it was me, him, and Smith Onquist, and we got in the room, and I'd written. I was wanting to come in prepared, just to, you know, I didn't want to come in there and not have an idea or something. And I sat down and I'd kind of written the first verse and some of that chorus to that song, and took it into JMO and Smith, and we kind of jumped right on it and wrote it. And in the room when we did the work tape for it, um, Jameson just started singing the second verse, and I just kind of let him do it. Uh, and then whenever I was driving home, I was listening to it. I was like, man, it'd be really cool if I had a Jameson Rogers feature. And um, I just texted him and I was like, hey, man, I would love if you, which he didn't really have a reason, he was helping me out more than anything because he's obviously light years ahead of where I'm at. And um, I was like, hey man, would you want to jump on this song? And he texted me back. He's like, oh man, you don't want an old washed up guy like me. And I was like, no, dude, I don't. You're not any of those things at all. So uh, he was cool with it, jumped on it, and it's been good. It streamed really well, and it's one of my favorites on the record. So
It turned out great. And another song that came out back in September, it's called For You. It's a nice,
yeah,
sweet song. I love the tune. Can you talk about how that all came to be too and how you wrote it?
yeah. So I wrote that song actually about my wife. It was a couple of months before we got married, and I had started the song. Again, I'd started it by myself and wrote the first verse and chorus to it. And I wrote that song with Smith Onquist too. Smith Onquist and a guy named Jason Massey, and we finished it up together. And it was just kind of a way, I think, for me to the whole record is. And I didn't know that I was writing for a record at that point in time. I was just writing to write, but we're all kind of writing for our records, I guess, in some way, shape, or form. But whenever I was picking songs for the record, I just wanted to. My main goal in putting the whole thing out is just to kind of get people to know me a little bit better, and um, the best way for me to do that, honestly, is like through my music, just because I'm so um, music is just kind of like it's my favorite thing. Like it's not a hobby, or I don't look at it as a job. It really is just it's like one of my favorite things to do. And so I wanted people to be able to get to know me a little bit better, and people that didn't know who I was be able to listen to this record and be like, oh, I totally understand, what this guy's about. And that song was just kind of a way for me to bookmark a spot in my life that, I mean, if you're lucky, hopefully you only get married once.
That's the goal.
And yeah, that's definitely mine and my wife's goal. Like, I mean, me and her, the way that we look at it now is like, well, we're married, and if we face anything, or we, are having some hard times or troubles or whatever, it's like, well, we just got to figure it out because we're married, and that's what it is. And so that song is definitely just a way for me to bookmark that like phase of my life. And no matter how many records I put out, it's always a song that I can go back to and be like, yeah, that's when I got married. That's, just something for me and her to be able to look back on. And she actually had no idea I was even putting it on the record. I was trying to surprise her with it. And the day that we were in the studio, she came in to the studio as we were starting to record that song, like just to say what's up. And I was like, well, this was gonna be a surprise, but here's the song.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That's a great story. Uh, Something with the record too that I think is really cool. Just me noticing it. It's called Small Town Record. 10 songs are out on the 24th. First, I'll just let you talk about the record and how
Yeah,
excited you are to put it out.
yeah, yeah, man. So Small Town Record is obviously the title track on there, and I wrote that song with Taylor Phillips, Lydia Vaughn, and a guy named Andy Sheridan. We were on a writer's retreat, and it's a really long story, but I'll make it really short. Essentially, Taylor Phillips is, I don't know if you know who he is, but he's one of the best songwriters in Nashville. I mean, he's got 10 number ones, I think, as of right now, and many more to come. And I never met him before. And him and Andy are really good friends. And Taylor called Andy when we were on this writer retreat, and he was like, "Hey, man, you know, what's going on?" Just kind of calling him to say what's up. And Andy was like, "I'm out here on this writer's retreat with this guy Brian. We're writing for his record, kind of thing." And Taylor had no idea who I was, and was just like, "Man, can I come?" And I was like, "Please, yeah, absolutely. You don't have to ask, just show up." And so Taylor calls me, and as he's driving out there, it's about an hour drive, and he's like, "Hey, man, what are you looking for this record? What do you feel like is going to wrap it up?" And I kind of told him, what we were shooting for, and he was like, "All right, I'll dig on some ideas on my way out there." And he gets there and he walks through the door and he's like, "Hey, I've got this idea for this song, Small Town Record." And I was like, "Let's write that. That sounds good." Um, and the song is really really cool in itself because it just kind of takes you through this, really my growing up, like a lot of stuff that I did growing up, and the hook is one of those double meaning hooks. So there's a cool little twist on it, and but the coolest part about the song is we were writing it, and I had a buddy that passed away a couple years ago, and his name was Joe Fox, and um, we wrote the third verse about him, and just kind of about losing him, and all of that stuff, and um, I didn't know this while we were writing the verse, but Taylor also had a buddy that he had lost a couple of years ago, and we get done writing that third verse, and Taylor leans his head back on the couch and looks up at the ceiling and just starts freaking out. And I'm like, "What is going on?" And there was a red heart balloon that was in the ceiling of this Airbnb we were staying at. Nobody had noticed it before. It was just kind of up there floating. And Taylor jumps off the couch and he's like, "Dude, red heart balloons are like my buddy's, like that's his buddy's sign to him were like red heart balloons. He even the only colored tattoo that Taylor has on his arm is a red heart balloon."
Nice.
And so it was really cool because it was kind of like, Taylor's buddy's way of saying, "Hey man, this is a special moment right here." And so when we were picking songs for the record and getting into it a little bit, it just really made complete sense because the record itself is really just about, like I said, how I grew up and different phases of my life. Um, which is, I feel like a lot of people say that, a lot of their first debut record, a lot of people are like, "Yeah, this is, I just want people to get to know me," kind of thing. But um, it really is a good intro, like it's one of those things that being a new up and coming artist, not a ton of people know who you are, and even the people that do know who you are or listen to your music don't really have like a lens into your life, your past, present, and future. And that's definitely what we were trying to accomplish with this record and stamping a brand and a sound that people could, when they hear a certain song, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a Brad Fuller song." Um, and it honestly, the record all just kind of flowed perfectly into, from how we created it and to even like the beginning phases of it. had always wanted to put out a record and just didn't know how I was going to do it. You know, it's pretty expensive, especially when you're independent.
Mm.
And I just was praying really hard about it and asked God to open the doors if it was going to be possible. And each door just kind of swung open. And here we are at the release of it. And I'm really, really excited about it, man. I think genuinely think it's the best body of work that I've ever put out. So I'm pumped. I'm just super pumped about it.
Well, songs we've heard so far already are great, so it makes the album that much more anticipated. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it. It's out the 24th, and something cool is that you get to take the Small Town record onto the Small Town Does tour with Noah
Yeah.
Hicks, another Georgia native.
Yep.
We all know the Georgia connection runs strong in country music. How excited are you to get on tour with Noah and go travel? What is it? It's 16 shows, right? I think.
Yeah, it's 16 or 17 shows across 23 days. So we leave. Our first show is in Nashville on um, the 10th, next Friday. We're playing at Exit Inn, and we play that show. We jump on the bus, and we're gone for the next 23 days or how many days it is. And I'm excited, man. Me and Noah have been friends for a really long time. I met Noah before he even moved to Nashville, I think, and we've always just been good buddies. Me, him, Tyler Chambers, Dylan Marlowe, and Bryce Malden, a bunch of those guys. We all kind of run in the same circle, and um, yeah, it's just this whole year has been really fun because the beginning of the year I got toured Dylan Marlowe, which is another great friend of mine, and now I'm ending the year with Noah. So, I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It sounds like it. I know the Nashville show's always a good time. Exit In's fun venue. Folks, everybody out there watching this, if you don't already follow Brian on Instagram and TikTok and all the social media platforms you can find him on, go follow him. Go stream
Yeah,
Small Town Record when it's out and go see him on tour with Noah Hicks. Brian, thanks so
yeah,
much for joining me.
yeah, dude. Of course. Thanks for having me, brother.
See you guys next time.